So this short training is going to be me talking through some of the things that I want you to be considering as you set up for your live video recording session. Now, these are guides more than hard and fast rules, and obviously this is very much determined by your setup, the location you're in, and the equipment you've got at your disposal. So there's a couple of things we're going to talk about. First of all, we're going to talk about the physical setting that you're in. So the room that you're in, where you're doing your recording, you kind of want to reflect the brand values that you're looking to project through this video content. So if you have a nice office space, try to use that as your kind of preferred broadcast space. Now, obviously, that sounds pretty obvious, but some people prefer to do their lives from other places. But try and think about this from the perspective of the audience. What are people going to get to know about you when they see this video? It's not just about the words, it's about the image you project. Another thing to consider about the space that you're going to be filming in is light in the space. Now, what I don't want you to do is to film with a light source behind you. So don't be tempted to sit in front of a window. As nice as you think that view looks, the camera will struggle to expose your face correctly when it's trying to expose correctly for the light source behind you. No matter how powerful those, you've got to have some really powerful lights on you inside to correct for that strong light source behind you. So don't have a strong light source like a window behind you. Use it to light you. So I'm being lit 100% by natural light in this video. There is just a kind of a natural light field coming in from the window there. It's kind of a double length window in my study onto me. Now, the downside to that is, you can see this video, light levels go up and down as the light levels change outside. As clouds pass, it becomes more or less intense. So you've got a little less control there. So that's something to consider. But that is still preferable to having a strong light source behind you, because you'll get that Crime Watch look, and we don't want that. So think about the space you're going to be in. Think about the light source that you're going to be using to light you. Ideally, just use a natural light source. If you've got lights, make sure they're evenly placed so you're not getting strong shadows pushed across your face by the lights. And kind of try and get it, if you're a glasses wearer, position them up high so that they're not reflecting massively off your glasses, because that's quite a distracting thing to have. So think about the space you're in and the lighting in that space. So that's the first thing I want you to think about. The second thing I want you to think about is eye line. When you are setting up your shot, try and get the camera that you're using, if it's your phone, if it's your laptop, if it's a proper camera, whatever, make sure your eyes are about 2/3 of the way up the screen. Now, you can see in this shot, my eyes are about 2/3 of the way up the screen. It's quite a nice, pleasing kind of shot structure, and we want to have that in your video content. So eyes 2/3 of the way up the screen. Camera level, you want your camera to be either just slightly above or just slightly below your eyes. You want to be able to look into the camera as though you were talking to somebody face to face, not looking down or not looking up. The last thing we want is the camera to be at a very low angle, so you're getting that kind of up the nose shot, or a sort of, kind of too high up, so you're kind of looking up at it. We want it to be down the line, down the lens, at a reasonable height. Now, one issue that you may come across if you are using the camera on your laptop is that you can struggle with positioning, because laptop cameras can be put in funny places. So sometimes it might just be as simple as getting a stack of books and putting it until the lens is at that eye level, so you're able to look down it. Now, one way around this is if you prefer to use a mobile phone to record on, what we can do with this is that we can use Zoom to ask the questions of you, but you are recording into your mobile phone. Now, there's a certain level of complexity there, and the responsibility falls to you, obviously, to press stop and go and record. But I've been using this as a technique throughout 2020 and 21 to get interviews with some clients. I say to them, set up your mobile phone, so you're using your mobile phone as the recording device. You press record on there. We ask you the questions on Zoom, and you answer the questions straight back to your camera. Now, what that will mean is you'll get a better quality of image using the camera on your phone. If that's the camera you've got, compared to a webcam or a kind of the inbuilt camera in your laptop, your phone will do a far better job. So if you can get your phone on a little tripod or stand in front of you at this kind of angle, remember the eye line thirds and that level of the camera, that can be a much better way to do it. So just to recap, we want a room that is suitable, i.e. not too kind of messy. We want it to reflect the brand values to a certain extent that you want to project. We want your lighting to be nice and even, so we don't want a really strong light source behind you, because that will create all sorts of problems. And if you are lighting if you have got your own lights and you are somebody who wears glasses, make sure those lights are nice and high up, so they are reflecting off the glasses at an angle which is good for recording, so you're not getting that glare. Also, don't forget the eye line, good eye line and good camera positioning. The third thing I want to talk about is sound. Now, you might be lucky, you might have a microphone. That's great. If you have, use it. I'm using a Yeti on this, so this is quite a good little camera, good little mic. Or you can just use a tie clip mic or whatever you've got. If you've got a microphone, do try and use it, because it will improve the quality of the audio. Having said that, the audio on some phones is great. So if you're using maybe if you've got an iPhone or a new generation or a most recent Samsung or something like that, you can get very good results sound-wise just from the native microphone on those devices. So when you're considering your space and your room and the sound, try and have somewhere that is quiet, somewhere where you're not going to get, you can hear the kids behind me, not going to get too many interruptions, or little feet pattering around. Now, I know that can be hard just simply because of the nature of filming at home and all that kind of stuff. But do try and choose a space that's good for sound. So we've got the camera, we've got the setting, we've got the lights, we've got the sound, and now we've got you. So obviously, come to the recording with a what's the word I'm looking for? With kind of a sort of an on-brand look, something that is going to be all about projecting. If the room is right, you want to be right as well. So feel good about it. That's a really important thing, to be able to feel good about being in front of the camera. Now, if you've watched the training before, you'll know that there's things you can do to help yourself feel better on camera. So we have a situation where when you turn up for the recording, your sort of mindset is right and you're kind of on point as far as the kind of the attitude you've got towards the recording session itself. It's quite important. Now, when you're being asked the questions, try and remember this, and this is slightly tricky. Whilst I'm editing the footage, you won't hear the questions being asked in the final cut. So we need you to make sense of the answers you're giving. So when you give your answer, remember to try and contextualize them. And that can be as simple as you putting the question you are being asked at the start of your answer. So if I was to ask you, what did you have for breakfast? You'd say, for breakfast I had ... Now, imagine that when it comes back to the editing, if you were asked, what did you have for breakfast? And the question you answered was Weetabix, or just a one-word answer, that wouldn't make any sense at all in the final cut. What I need you to do with the answers you give is to make them self-contained, to make them make sense on their own. So in that question example I've just given, the answer, well, for breakfast today I had Weetabix. That's a self-contained answer. I don't need anything more than that to make sense of that answer. So if you can be trying to do that in your kind of in the answers you're giving to the questions, then I can be much more creative with the video content we're getting. And that really is it. There's only one last thing to consider, and that's clothing. So try not to wear very tight stripe or very tight check, because you'll get that sort of moire pattern. I think I managed to wear a very tightly striped shirt on the video I did with Dawny last sort of earlier in the month. So yeah, don't do that. Don't do what I did. So avoid tight stripes, avoid tight check, because that will create that sort of shimmering moire pattern on the video, which is to do with how the camera resolves shapes. It will struggle. Your camera will struggle to kind of define between those different those lines, and that's what causes those kind of shimmering patterns, which don't look great. They're not good to look at. So I think that's it. I think that covers the sort of top tips. I'm trying to make this quick so you can look this and just kind of fix these things in your mind, so you don't have to overly worry about what you're doing on camera. If you have any questions, please do just fire them at me, and I will do my very best to kind of answer them to the best of my ability. But I have a great recording session, and I'm really looking forward to editing your video content. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.